That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it gets harder and harder to resist.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hardcore Horror with Mike and Brigitte. Brigitte, over there. Hello.
Hey, Mike.
It's February. We're already in the second month of the year.
Crazy.
2025.
I know, time flies, and man, it's been a while. It's been a while, and I'm having horror movie talk withdrawals.
Yeah, it's always good to talk about all the things we've been watching and all that stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll get to that in just a minute. So I sent you this thing a few days ago. It was talking about the substance, because the substance that of course the Oscars, the nominations came out a while back, and the substance got nominated for a few things, and so did Demi Moore got nominated again, and the director got nominated too. I think we got director and best screenplay, but also best picture, and so I said, which is really cool. I mean, I don't put stock in that sort of stuff, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. You'll see why, but it's really cool. I mean, obviously that people resonate with that movie, and it's really gotten out there. But so the thing I sent you, it said that The Substance was the 7th horror movie to ever get a Best Picture nomination in the 96-year history of the Academy Awards.
It's pretty amazing. I wonder what the other 6 were. Do you even look at that list?
I have that list right here. We'll talk about it.
Awesome.
But even I think even some of those are stretching it a little bit. I want to say horror, but I mean, to 96 years, seven nominations.
It's kind of sad, and I remember when I went and saw The Substance in the theater, I texted you immediately, and I was like, "Oh my God, have you seen The Substance? I think it's like my favorite horror movie of the year." But it's really sad that horror doesn't get recognized.
It doesn't.
And so, what is it about this movie? I loved it, but I'm a horror fan. So, what do you think it is about that movie? Why it got so much recognition?
Well, I think you can't deny just the look of it, the sort of originality of it. I think it is definitely a different movie. It is a little weird because I'll mention the ones on the list. And I think The Substance probably is the most, at least one of the most horror movies to be nominated. Because I mean, when you get in that third act, it's horror, right?
Oh, it's horror.
There's no denying this one to be horror. Some of these other ones have totally tried to deny their horror leanings, but this one is definitely horror. So I mean, I don't know, maybe we're just moving into a little bit of a different era where horror is becoming a little bit more accepted. I mean, obviously it's been mainstream for a while now. We've got all these conventions and stuff that are everywhere. I mean, it's obviously a pull. People are seeing the money is coming in for these movies. They do make a profit typically, oftentimes anyway. So I mean, yeah, it's still sort of that bastardization though of a genre, and I don't know if it'll ever fully be recognized to the degree that maybe could be. And it's not the only genre that gets overlooked. I mean, like even there's action a lot of times doesn't. Obviously, certain R-rated comedies are not looked at, are pretty well frowned upon by the Academy. You would say superhero movies, even majority of them. There's a few, but the majority of those movies. So I mean, it's not that horror is the only one singled out, but it definitely is. It's a blockbuster movie making machine that really doesn't really get in the conversation that often. So, but yeah, let's take a look at these movies now. So, Best Picture in 96 years. 96 years. Okay, the first one we had was The Exorcist. No real shocker there, I don't think.
Right, I was like, that's kind of a no-brainer, I think.
I mean, I feel like it was. It's one of my favorite movies. I think it's one of the best movies ever made. I've watched it many times over. I watch it every year. I love it. It doesn't ever get old for me. It's such a well-made movie. But even the director, William Friedkin, he said that he wasn't making a horror movie when he made it. He doesn't technically consider it a horror movie. I don't know how you could really get around that one being a horror movie. I think it is straight out and out.
Wait, he thinks The Exorcist, his movie, The Exorcist, he thinks it's not really considered a horror movie?
And he just says he wasn't making a horror movie when he made it.
Oh no, he was making a drama.
I mean, I don't know how much I believe that. I mean, of course, it's like, I mean, there's such a good layers in that movie that I don't think it is what you would call maybe a typical quote unquote horror movie, but it's definitely there, it's there. So, whatever. All right. The second one was Jaws. Steven Spielberg.
Jaws. Look, I'm rocking my Jaws shirt.
Jaws. I mean, and that's another no-brainer too.
Yep.
In its own way. But Jaws is a horror movie, and I do believe it is. But it's also more than that. It's more of a summer blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, like The Extras, it does appeal to a lot of people, but there are definitely people that aren't going to watch that movie or like it. The Jaws is definitely more of a universal appeal, I feel like.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Even though there's some hardcore stuff in there. There's nudity in there. There's some blood. There's a guy's head in that, at one point. So I mean, children getting eaten. I mean, it's not exactly what you call today's version of family friendly, maybe, but at the time it was, I think, a family event to go watch that movie or see it on TV.
How old were you when you first saw Jaws?
I don't remember, but I remember being super little and having a Jaws 2 poster on my wall.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
the girl in the jet skis with the shark after her, that was on my wall when I was like super little. Like,
that is so gnarly. I love it.
So
that's so cool.
So I saw it really. I was really little when I saw it for sure. So that one makes sense too to me. Obviously, it does. The next one, the big winner and the only one that won, the only one of this list that actually won. These were all nominated, but the only real winner of the set of the other six, which I don't really think The Substance will win. If I'm going to be honest, with the Best Picture, they might get some awards. Hopefully, Demi Moore gets it, but I don't see it winning. I'd be surprised, but we'll see. But anyway, this was the one that won. Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Silence of the Lambs is the only, and Silence of the Lambs, again, they don't. There's a lot of people that say that's not a horror movie. That's a crime thriller. And I can see how it's not constructed like a horror movie in a way, but the themes throughout the movie lend itself to horror all the way through. So you can't really deny that it's not a horror movie. I mean, I just think it is. I mean,
yeah,
definitely.
It's funny you say that. So I remember I think I was about 10 years old, and I remember being at one of my best friend's house. So I was staying the night over there, and I was like, let's watch a horror movie. And she's like, I'm not allowed to watch horror movies. And I kind of looked at her mom. Her mom was like her Girl Scout leader. I was like, you don't let her watch horror movies? She goes, well, I let her watch Silence of the Lambs. And I was like, well, that's a horror movie. But the mom didn't think it was a horror movie. So I was like, if you're not going to let her watch a horror movie, but you let her watch Silence of the Lambs, I mean, maybe for a kid. I mean, there are other pictures and stuff of Buffalo Bill's victims at the beginning, and there's that one cadaver scene. Oh, yeah. But there's not a whole lot of like shock and gore and stuff like that. That's why it's not, it's not really constructed in that sense. So, but again, we're talking about a cannibal. We're talking about a guy who skins people, modeled after Ed Gein. I mean, if that's not horror, I don't know what is. So right.
But so I mean, but well deserved. I mean, it's a great movie. I watched it the other day. Actually, it's a great movie. Very well put together. But yeah, it definitely is a horror movie. All right, the next one that got nominated, The Sixth Sense.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that either, but I could see that. I can see that.
And that's another one that's, I mean, it's a horror movie, but it's definitely universal appeal. It's a PG-13 movie. Oh, yeah. It's not, I mean, obviously there are some themes that are a little heavy there at the beginning, with Donnie Wahlberg's character, but I think overall, I mean, it has its moments. It's pretty scary, and it's pretty creepy for a PG-13 movie, and it's well done. but I still think that it's not like what a lot of people would consider horror, like you know what I mean, like the blood, all the blood and stuff and everything. So I could see how it could kind of pass for that. I think that movie when it came out, it was just a real shock for people because they really didn't see the ending coming, and so it was very well received at the time. Yeah, so that's that one. Now the next one, I don't know. Do you even consider this a horror movie? Black Swan.
No. Mm-mm.
See, that's what
is it classified though? Is that classified as a horror movie? Because I
don't know. Darren, that Darren guy. I mean, a lot of his movies, I think they kind of get like lumped in because they're a little. It's kind of like Mother, It's like kind of, but not really, but kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal, and that's where I think Black Swan is. I definitely don't consider it a horror movie straight up. I mean, does it have elements? I mean, yeah, I guess to a point, but I really don't feel like that's the bulk of the movie.
It's almost like a dark drama, maybe.
It's very dark. It's a black,
black
like a
drama.
Dark
drama. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If I would classify it, I would not classify it as horror though.
Yeah, so I think they might be reaching a little bit with that one,
Yeah,
and the other one again is another one which I consider more of a thriller, which is Get Out.
Get Out got I did not know that got nominated for
Best Picture.
award.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not even know that.
Well, Get Out actually won Best Screenplay that year.
Yeah, I don't think you and I've ever talked about it. Did you like that movie?
I do like the movie. Yes, I do enjoy the movie.
I like the movie. Do I love it and just want to go and buy it on DVD or Blu-ray, whatever? Not really.
Well,
it was okay.
I mean, I have it on Blu-ray, but I just
but you've got like a million. That doesn't count.
There's that. Yeah, it wasn't like my one purchase of the year.
Yeah.
But I mean, do I think it has horror elements in it? Obviously, for some people, it's definitely probably horror. But I think overall, it is more of a thriller in its own sense. But again, so we're talking about these movies, and there you go. And again, only one of those won Best Picture. The Extras did get Best Screenplay as well as Get Out. Those I think were the only two that got Best Screenplay as well. I could be wrong about Jaws. You might have. But I would say too, though, if you want to add another one of those, since we're stretching it with like these last two, why not add Shape of Water? Shape of Water did win Best Picture, and it's not a horror movie, but it's about a creature. It's about a creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, so it's not really a horror movie, no, but it is about a creature. It's a creature feature, so that lends itself to horror. So I say why not add that one as well? But again, in all those years and all those amazing movies that have came and went, those are the only ones that even got their chance.
That is so sad to me. And you take the Substance, which is not even your typical horror movie, like the body horror, like that. I'm sure that horrified a lot of people. I love me some body horror, but I'm sure that horrified a lot of people. And the gore.
Right.
What? Crazy.
And don't get me wrong. We're in more of, I guess, a new era. I mean, we've got things like the Terrifier blowing up and people going to see that. And there's gore galore on the screen in the theaters. So maybe it's just becoming a little bit more accepting and stuff. But I guarantee you there was a lot of people, because I know how some people are. Some people, once those nominations come out, they go through that list and they go watch them all if they haven't seen it yet, right? So I guarantee you there's a lot of people that watched The Substance and was like jaw dropped, like
before I went and saw it, I was seeing people post about it on social media. It was like, I don't know what the fuck I just watched. Like, this is crazy. So I was like, oh, I'm so excited to go and see it, but it's not your typical horror movie at all. Well,
it's not your typical like slasher or nothing like that, or supernatural kind of a deal. So it is its own thing, and I think that might be, again, the originality of it is probably one of the things that people are kind of looking at it for the acclaim. But I mean, it is a horror movie. I mean, it definitely is. I mean, look at all that blood.
Did I send you video of the behind the scenes of all the people like behind the scenes?
Getting drenched in blood.
God, I would love to be on that film set. That would be so much fun. They had to have so much fun.
yeah. And I haven't seen the director's take on it, but I don't think that she's saying, "Hey, this isn't a horror movie." I don't know what you're talking about. And hopefully she wouldn't say that because it definitely is, you know. But so I mean, that's it. I mean, I honestly, other than probably The Exorcist, because I think personally, even though The Exorcist is very deep in levels and it has really good characters and it is a drama in its own sense, but it is a horror movie. But some of those other ones, you can kind of be like, well, they're maybe more a little bit like this or that or this. But
They're more, all of them, except for maybe Jaws, and obviously The Exorcist, but they're almost kind of like psychological thrillers
yeah,
more.
yeah, yeah.
You
You could
know,
say that. Yeah.
I
So
mean, thrillers and horror. I mean,
they
there's
go
still a
they go
fine
hand in
line.
hand. Yeah,
They
they go
go
hand
hand
in
in hand, but
hand for sure.
to me, it's still a little line.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean, so if you really want to be selective like that, you took some of those away. I mean, we're looking at like 3 or 4 in
right.
96 years. So that's kind of wild and kind of sad. That's really why I don't watch these things that much. I don't really pay attention to them. They really
Yeah.
don't mean that much to me at all. They never did. Um, you know, I
hmm
mean, it's kind of like the Grammys for me now. I mean, I don't watch that sort of stuff for music and kind of thing. It's not like my brand, you know. So I never pay attention to that much. I mean, there are other awards and stuff. Fangoria has their own awards. I tend to watch that because I liked all the stuff that's there, you know.
Well,
So
typically, I feel like whenever there's like award ceremonies involved, no matter what kind of award ceremony it is, there's always going to be some politics behind it as well. Always.
well, there is, yeah, definitely there is.
So you're like, who this person blow to get the award? I mean, there's
Well,
always going to be that stuff.
for your consideration,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a lot of it. Yeah,
Mhm.
unfortunately, yeah. And I told you that Long Leg was trying to kind of push a little bit for that with that, which I didn't think that movie was going to get it. Honestly, I didn't. It really doesn't feel like an award movie. I mean,
Mhm.
I love the movie. It was in my top 3 last year, but it's just not. It's just not that kind of movie, you
Yeah, I
know.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you.
although I do think that obviously we both said The Substance was the best movie of last year. It is still surprising me that it even got nominated too, because again, it's such a wild, outlandish movie. Yeah,
Yep. I love it. I'm so glad that it's got the recognition that it deserves.
yeah,
I'm so
yeah,
glad. Yeah.
yeah. It's very cool. You got anything else before we start talking about these movies that we've been watching?
Man, let's talk about them because I have a little list going. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's go with your list.
All right, let's go with mine. So, yesterday, oh, scratch that. This month being Valentine's Day month, I had to do a rewatch of a couple of my Bloody Valentines. So
Okay.
on Valentine's Day, I did go to Full Moon Cineplex and did the whole dinner and a movie thing, and they showed the uncut version, which is a version that I own, which is definitely the best one of the
Yeah.
1981 My Bloody Valentine. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. It was the first time I saw it on the big screen. So
Nice.
that was a lot of
Nice.
fun. Then I went home that night and watched the remake of My
Okay,
Bloody
so
Valentine.
okay, that's on my list too. The remake, because I'd watched the uncut version of the original not that long ago. It
hmm
was just a few months ago, so it was kind of still fresh in my mind. So I hadn't seen the remake in a while, so I went back and watched that one. You know, I like the
hmm
remake. Uh, I do. I wasn't like in love with the original. Like I'm just saying it was like in my top 10 movies or anything. So I mean, when I watched I think I might have saw the original one time before I saw the remake,
hmm
and I saw that remake in theaters in 3D.
hmm
When like right when they started that new 3D kind of craze with those new
Yeah.
glasses, you know,
Yeah.
and I was very impressed with it. And I think that honestly, for a slick Hollywood remake, it's pretty good. I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I think
I
so
mean,
too. I'd like to see it in 3D. I haven't seen it in 3D, and
yeah.
I
Well,
think
if
that'd
you
be pretty cool.
even watching it in 2D, it very well lends itself to 3D. You see the stuff
hmm
popping
hmm
out at you, you know. So yeah, but it looked really cool in 3D. It really did.
I think what I liked about the 1981 version, for 1981, I think the practical effects were really great.
Sure.
For 1981, and Also, so I own the movie, so I watched the behind the scenes, and I think I might have talked about this a couple years ago. It's pretty cool. In the behind the scenes, they talk about how they actually film in a mine. They go like 200 feet, you know, underground, and they're filming.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they're really filming in a mine. I mean, that's pretty cool. I wonder if the and so the whole time I was watching the remake, I was like, is this all staged, or they really go
Probably.
film it? Probably, yeah.
Probably.
It kind of looked like it was staged. It totally did. So you got to give
Yeah.
the original version a little bit of credit.
Oh yeah,
So
sure, definitely, definitely. I
yeah,
mean, the original is definitely the best. I just,
yeah,
but I don't hate the remake. I think it's a pretty decent little
I think so
try,
too.
American try.
Yeah, considering it's a remake, because you know how we feel about those sometimes. So,
Yeah, they don't
um,
always work. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, agreed. All right, so next up, I did go see the movie Companion in the
All right.
theaters. Is that on
Yeah,
your list too?
I saw that as well. Yes.
I feel like you and I talked about this movie maybe last year of, hey, what's coming in 2025, or
Hmm.
I don't really remember the trailer. I've been on this kick lately where if I hear that a horror movie is great, I purposely don't watch the trailer for it because I feel like the trailers give everything away.
Well, I'll tell you,
So,
the first trailer that they had, I wish I'd only seen that one because that one was just like her chained up at the table and him there with a gun, I think. So
mhm,
it kind of lent itself as he's the crazy person, she's in distress.
mhm,
That one I liked, and
mhm,
it sort of drew this like you had no idea what was really going on kind of a
mhm,
deal. But
mhm.
unfortunately, they're like, I don't think this is gonna work. So they did a bunch of trailers that gave it all away, and
Yep.
it was
Yeah.
terrible. I don't know why they did that. Go ahead. What did you think about it?
I believe it. Everyone's like, I love it, I love it, I love it. And I think I went in with too high of expectations. It was okay. It was all right. I didn't love it. But I was glad that, the shock about, who she is. Like I was
Mhm.
like, oh, that makes sense. So I went in blind. But I'm sure that 99% of people have seen the trailer, so they already know. They already
Yeah.
know like the whole plot. So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it was okay. I mean, I feel like they could have took that story and done so much better with it. So much better.
Okay. Yeah.
It's my opinion. There was like one kill scene that I loved. I was like, oh, that's good. Finally, finally a good kill scene, yay!
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What did you think?
I liked it. I mean, I didn't love it either. I didn't
Kind of
think it
like the
was.
same. Feel like the same.
I
So
didn't
it's
think it
all
was
right.
like. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I knew what I was getting to from the trailers, but I do. I like that actress. I think starting to become kind of a screen queen. Starting
Oh
to emulate.
man, yeah. First thing I
So
saw her in was Yellow Jackets, and
Yellow
now
Jackets.
she's
Yeah.
like popping up everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's
So that's
actually
pretty.
she's on another one. She's on another one of my movies list of
Okay. All right.
this
Cool.
month. It's crazy.
Cool. Yeah. But I mean, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend someone to watch it for sure
Yeah.
and form their own opinion because I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was the best movie ever, but it was all right. Um, Next up, let's just go ahead and talk about it since we're talking about her and I can't even remember her name. Do you remember her name?
I don't remember anything.
Oh man.
I don't.
Yeah, that's my bad. Super cute. We'll circle back to that. Heretic. Have you seen
Heretic.
Heretic? Heretic.
Heretic.
Oh, Heretic. Heretic. Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Now. Um, yes, that was in my top 10 last year because I do
Did
like
you
that.
watch that last year?
Yep.
Okay, so I didn't watch it. I didn't love it. I didn't love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I didn't kind of expect you to really. So look, it's okay. First of all, it's A24. It's sort of a slow burn.
Hmm.
It's kind of
Hmm.
that elevated horror.
Hmm.
So those are three boxes that don't really make your list. But
Hmm.
why? What else didn't you like
Oh man, I think to me it was too slow.
about
Oh man, I was like, is this ever gonna pick up? And just when I thought it was gonna pick up, it was just like, hmm.
it? Yeah.
I guess I'm an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, come on, I love Circus of the Dead. I mean, I love Circus of the Dead because that shit just keeps on going. It's like a roller coaster ride, it's a thrill ride. And oh, that movie was just ugh. Man, it
Yeah.
was just slow. But the acting, I'll give it that. The acting was amazing. The acting was
Yeah.
really, really good. I do like the idea of the setup of the house. That was pretty cool. I didn't really see that coming. And some of the things I didn't see coming, which was pretty cool. But I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just not my type of movie. Just it
Well,
wasn't.
I did a rewatch of it again recently too. I love it. I think it's a great movie. Yeah, it's fantastic to me. First of all, yeah, I do love the performances and stuff, but I think, see, I love cat and mouse games,
Okay.
movies. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at like The Strangers, Funny Games, and stuff like that, like I just love that sort of setup. And this is exactly what this was. This was just him playing with these girls, and but I love his character. I love all the stuff he says, the theological stuff. I'm in. I liked it. So it was a movie that was definitely meant for me. Yeah, I think it's really good.
Now
But
hit now Hugh Grant's acting, like I was like, holy shit, he's totally believable. Like you want to like the guy. You want to
yeah,
like him.
well, you don't see him in a
And
lot of horror
so
movies.
I don't think I've ever seen him in another horror movie that I can think of
I can't
off the
think
top
of
of my
one.
head.
I can't think of one right now.
And the chick's name that I was trying to think of, it's Sophie Thatcher.
Sophie Thatcher. Yeah, she's good. She's been in like a bunch of other ones. She was in The Boogeyman or something like that. The Boogeyman. I saw her in
Mhm.
that, and then maybe another two. Really doing a lot of horror stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's kind of like Mia Goth. Like she just comes out of nowhere and she's like, bam, bam. You see her in all these things. Like, oh, at the same time, I'm like, wow, she's busy.
Well, when I saw her doing the younger version of Juliet Lewis's character in Yellow Jackets, I was like, "This girl's going places." You could tell.
Yeah, yeah.
She was like the standout one, or one of the standout ones of the
Mhm.
younger crew. Yeah,
I agree 100%, 100%. So, okay, so I'll keep moving on.
sure.
So I did a rewatch of Dust Up, and I
Yeah.
texted you, and I was like, if you haven't seen this, you have to watch it. I think it's the third time I've seen it.
Hmm.
So, and you're like, oh, it's a cute. I was like, it also is cute.
Well, I mean, so I mean, it was cute because I mean, it's silly, right? It's just silly. It's a very silly
It's
movie.
silly.
It
It is
doesn't take
silly.
itself seriously. It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie, but not. But like if he tried to make a comedy or something,
Hmm.
like a super silly comedy. Um,
Hmm.
so I mean, the horror. I mean, it's not. I don't even know. It's like
I know
horror
it's
might be
weird. It's not
on the
even
back
I
burner.
don't. Is it considered horror? I don't even
I
know if it
don't. I
is.
don't know. I mean, there. I mean, obviously, some of the gore, I guess, lends itself to that a little bit, but I don't know. Probably not, though. Honestly.
I mean cannibalism, and I do think that when they brought the guy out there on the stake, I was like,
Yeah.
total cannibal Holocaust ripoff.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. So stuff like that does lend itself for sure. So, I mean, I guess you would say it's horror, but I don't think that's the main
It's
genre,
maybe
right?
kind of borderline, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I love it. I've seen it like three times, and it's to me it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's a great movie. I think it's a little underrated. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Dust Up. I think you can stream it on Tubi for free
Yeah.
right now.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
all right, what else we have? I did a rewatch. I noticed I've been doing a rewatch of this movie about once a year. Is May.
Hey, yeah,
I love May. Gotta love May. I
that's
mean,
good.
I was like, damn, I feel like I've talked about this so many times, but it's a great movie. I think I watched it because Matthew came over and he had never seen it, and I was like, "Oh, can you see this movie? Like, we have to watch it." While we were eating dinner. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what else? So All of It Ends. That was a little movie that I starred in a few years ago. They had a second premiere of it, so I
Yeah.
attended the second premiere.
I think
So it was all right. It was all right. There was a pretty good crowd there considering it was the second premiere. So so that was kind of fun. It's funny, like it's the second time around. The first time I was like, oh, I did pretty good. I love my performance. It was pretty good. And the second time around, I was so critical of myself. I was like, damn, I should have done that different. Why did I do that? Why did I do this? I should have thought about that different. I'm like, oh, I'm really hard on myself. But overall, I still like the movie. I
Yeah.
think the plot's really good. It's got a lot of gore in it. I mean, for like a micro budget independent horror film, I think it's pretty good. So,
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that'll be coming out soon. We don't really have any dates for that or anything, but stay tuned. All right, so what else? Let's see. I'm just gonna talk about this last one here because this is one that anytime I tell people I co-host a horror podcast, what's the first thing that they ask me? Have you seen a Serbian film?
A Serbian film. Yeah.
Serbian film? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm gonna check it off one day. So, I was having like a crap week or whatever, and I know Michael T. Flynn, we all know him. He's been on the podcast several times. He owns the movie, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you, let's come over and hang out." And so I made dinner. I took dinner over there, and oh, we watched one movie before that, which was Star Booty.
Starbury.
Star Booty, yeah, it's stars RuPaul.
Okay.
And RuPaul has like buried this damn movie where you cannot stream it anywhere. He randomly found it. Michael randomly found it on eBay, and I was like, "Whoa! I see why RuPaul like buried this one because it's pretty crazy.
It's
It's
out there.
fucking crazy. Yeah, it's really out there. But anyways, let's get to a Serbian film
Serbian
because
film.
I I've watched many so many reviews about this movie, and I always
Okay.
hear different things. Oh, it's the most extreme horror movie ever. You're always going to hear that. And a lot of your movie reviewers, here's what they'll say. They'll say, "Is it extreme? Yes, it's definitely extreme. Is there things that are a little bit more hardcore? Yeah, 100%." And they're like, the thing is that they don't actually show you these scenes. It's just insinuated, right? Okay, so what I didn't know going in, I don't think Michael knew it either. Um, and we watched the uncut version.
Mhm.
So the scene,
There's a bunch of different cuts of it.
oh man,
Yeah.
this one was like, there was nothing insinuated about this shit. It was
Yeah.
straight up show everything. And I was just like,
That was the one I saw the very first time I watched it.
ooh. And
Mhm.
and it's funny because on the drive to his house, I've been on this kick where when I'm driving and instead of listening to music, I will literally like pull up like Spotify or Apple Podcast or YouTube or whatever and just listen to it on the drive. So I was listening to reviewers, and I think one thing that I listened to on the way to his house was 5 movies that are worse than a Serbian film.
Okay.
And I was like, the top 3 on there, I was like, I've totally seen those. And like, I think 2 of them, I was like, I love that movie. What? Yeah, so I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna go in on it." Yeah, it like disturbed me. Oh, I called my daughter on the way home, and I was like, "Will you just talk to me on my drive home?"
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
my brain is garbage. I didn't. So my, if
Mhm.
you notice, my list is really small
Mhm.
this month.
Mhm.
It's because I didn't freaking watch a horror movie for like damn, like I don't know, probably almost 2 weeks, probably.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
So
mean, I was like, that
it,
shit, check that shit off for like
it,
damn 2 weeks. I was good for a hot minute. I
it
mean,
really really affected you, huh?
that one really affected me. I'm like, and it just kept freaking going. And right when you think that you've seen the worst part, it's not the worst part. It just gets worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Oh
bad.
my God. It's pretty
It's bad.
bad. I mean,
But it's well shot. It's well acted.
I know that's the sad part. That's the sad part. So I had this whole conversation with Michael afterwards, and I was like, we've seen the Gore trilogy or whatever.
Yeah. Vomit
Rigor,
Gore.
yeah, yeah. I was like, the difference is that this movie actually has a plot, and the acting is pretty good, and it's beautifully made. Where
Mhm.
these films, it's just like there's
There's no plot.
kind of a story, not
Not really. It goes off the rails
really.
pretty quick with those stories, with those
Mhm.
vomit Gore.
So I was like, that's kind of the crazy thing. And I don't think a Serbian film is a low budget movie. I didn't think it was. To me, it didn't seem like it was. I don't know what the budget was. Do you know what the budget
No,
is?
I don't know what the budget is, but obviously they had some good production value, so it wasn't super cheap. It couldn't have been.
There's
You know.
one really unusual thing I did notice is that It's unusual. One of the guys pulls out a bottle of like Jack Daniels. I was like, "Hell yeah, bring out the Tennessee whiskey." In Serbia, bring out the Tennessee whiskey.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that or not, but
I don't remember it. I don't remember it, but but I mean that movie got banned in a lot of places, and it did cause a lot of controversy and stuff. Yeah, when I first saw it, again, I had no idea what the hell it was going in. That was before it ever got a reputation of what it is, and this is like right after it just came out, honestly. So I had no idea what I was in for. At least you were kind of
oh.
prepared a little bit. So
Oh, I thought I was prepared. I wasn't prepared for the uncut version though, so that really
but
kind of got me. I was like, I thought this was insinuated.
the one you're talking about is the one that I saw. That was
Yeah.
because I think they didn't even get it cut till later on because that was banned in America for a long time. I think they cut some different versions. I mean, there's like probably again 2 or 3 versions that because they just certain countries will only allow so much, right?
Mhm.
But that was the first one I saw, and I was just like, what the hell?
I can't believe you didn't know what you have an extremely high tolerance, and I think I do too. But that one's just,
Well, I'll tell you
man.
this. I've only seen that uncut version once. I didn't need. I haven't. And that was in. Let me see. What year was that? Was that probably like 2011?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So it was a while ago. Okay, yeah. So like
2000.
right when it first came out, then.
Yeah. So I haven't had the need to watch it again. There wasn't. I have seen the other version when it does that. There is a version that just implies it's still rough, but it implies some of the really bad stuff. But
Hmm.
that version, yeah, yeah, it really it's one of those movies that you don't forget. You don't
No, no. For me, I'm a horror movie junkie and I'm an adrenaline junkie. I admit it, but for me, not to watch a horror movie for damn near 2 weeks, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. So,
yeah.
look, and it makes me wonder. Like, I don't even want to watch any other version of it. I'm good for a hot minute. Like, and it makes me wonder. Like, I'm like, should I've? No, I don't know. Should I've watched it? But it's fun. Maybe it's good that I was just check it all off at once. Got that shit off my list. You
Yeah.
know. Um.
So Unearth Films, they either they're about to or they just released a documentary about it. It was like the documentary about the making of it, which I would be interested to see.
I would kind of be interested in seeing that myself. I would be interested in seeing that for sure because I'm
Yeah.
like, you remember when we brought Carl York on to the podcast? He
Hmm.
was the main character in Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him, I was like, "Hey, I did a rewatch of the movie," and he's like, "I'm sorry." And when you go back and watch all these interviews with all these actors, they all hate the film. They hate it that they had anything to do with it. I think I mean, it did kind of give him his like claim to fame, but
Hmm.
it makes me wonder like what these actors that play these parts like, especially the guy. I mean, the main
Yeah,
character.
yeah, and I think he was actually a big star in the Serbian TV landscape at the time. I think that was
Oh,
the
did it
thing.
kill his career? Did
I
it kill
don't
his
know.
career?
I don't know that story. That story is probably in that documentary. I
So
don't know,
what?
but I would think. I mean, honestly, I would think it would.
Man, I'm like, I question some of the things I do as an actress, and I'm like, is this kind of like, hey, I'm not trying to go to Hollywood or anything, so whatever, I'll do whatever I want to.
Right,
but
right. Well,
but I'm
yeah,
like,
and I'm sure they did.
what this guy does is like, and it's kind of sad because the things he does, he doesn't want to do them in the movie. He doesn't want to.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's its own little thing. Phew, God.
There's not a lot like it. That's for sure.
Mm-mm.
Not a lot like it.
But for me, so to answer everyone's damn question, because it's a question I get all the time, have you seen it? Yes, I have. Is it the most extreme horror movie you've ever seen? I think it is.
You think it is?
For me personally, yeah. For me personally. And maybe
Uh,
I would feel differently if I wouldn't have saw that version, maybe. But um
well, what it entails for sure is very taboo. It's
Yeah,
very
I
taboo.
can't unsee what I saw. But I will say that I remember coming home. I talked to my daughter on the way home, and I was like, you know, watching this movie makes me feel like, humanity, like I'm human and I have feelings, and that shit's not okay. So there's the only positive I can pull out for you for that one.
Yeah. Well,
Other than the acting's good.
the acting's good.
It's crazy, but the storyline is so far out there that but we watch crazy stuff all the time, but showing it, I'm like, oh, took me to my dark
Well, I mean,
place.
it's very nihilistic. I mean,
Mm,
there is not a lot of happy in that movie. So
mm-mm.
if that's what you're going for, probably don't watch that one.
Yep,
It's
don't watch
not.
that one. Yeah, but hey, if you want a thrill ride and if you think you can handle everything, then by all means, hey, leave us a comment. Leave us a comment. Let us know. Have you seen it? What do you think? What are your thoughts? And if you've seen the uncut version.
I mean, I wasn't a parent at the time when I watched it, so I wonder how I would have felt differently having
Mhm.
watched it for the first time if I hadn't been.
What did you say? You said what you cut off a little bit on me. So what?
Oh,
Say that
I
again.
said when I watched it that first time back in the day, I
Mhm.
wasn't a parent at the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what kind of effects that would have had on me if I had been, if I watched it, later on or whatever, or if I had kids at the time. I
Yeah,
wonder.
I'm gonna say that it probably affects a parent probably 100 times more than it affects a non-parent. I mean, that's just a
Yeah,
guess, but
that's what I'm thinking.
um,
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, but it was even for me not being a parent. It was pretty like, yeah, it's wild.
it's really weird when you become a parent. I remember my daughter was maybe 3 months old, and we rented the movie, the remake of The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
At
Hmm.
the time, I had never saw the original. I hadn't seen the original. So my here I am, I'm in like whatever you call it. I just had a baby, like 3 months. She's 3 months old, she's a newborn. And I'm watching this scene, this horrific scene where they steal this baby and he rips her titty out and he's getting the milk. And I'm just like, I was horrified by that movie. I love that movie, but as a new parent, I was
Yeah.
horrified,
Sure.
horrified.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's as a parent, you kind of changes things a little bit, but yeah.
I
So,
think so.
anyways, that's my list.
That's it. All
So
right.
yeah,
Very cool.
that's
All right.
that's me.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Just wait around for Serbian Film Part 2.
Oh shit. Oh man.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. Here's my list, or at least a version of my list. I'm not talking about everything that I watched, but one of the things I watched was Irreversible, the
Oh
straight,
yeah.
the straight cut.
Oh, the straight cut. So I haven't seen. I still haven't watched the original
Oh, you haven't
version
watched the
yet.
original? Okay.
No, no, and it's been on my list for like ever, but I know it's going to be one of those where I have to really sit down and concentrate because I'm kind of ADHD and I'm trying to
Mhm.
do 100 things and
Yeah. Well,
um.
the original was kind of like Memento in a way. It has those.
Mhm.
It starts at the end, kind of goes backward a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And so and it's a pretty shocking movie, not to Serbian film level shocking, but pretty shocking movie at the time. And
Mhm.
seeing it straightforward, I mean, I guess, I mean, it works. It still works. It's still good. It does take a little bit of maybe the mystery of it, I guess, in a way,
Yeah,
because
I was
you're
gonna
because you're
say, yeah,
because
yeah,
because what's happening is you're seeing the end, and you're like, what has caused
yeah.
all
What's
this?
what's going on? Yeah,
And then
for sure.
it sort of ravels and or unravels it backward, and so that you get that. I mean, I don't know if I saw this cut first, maybe I would have liked it better. I don't know. I think I like the original better though. I mean, it is interesting to
Mhm.
see it this way, and maybe less of a headache if you if you don't want to pay as much attention, maybe this would be the best one to watch. But it was just an interesting way to do it because, because it does change the tone a little bit of the movie. I mean, obviously the movie's still the same story, but it does change it a little bit, and I think it makes it a little less dramatic anyway. So I'll stick with the original, I think, for the most part. But it's still worth a watch, though, if you like the original.
Okay.
It's worth checking out.
Okay, that's what I've always heard. That's what's so good about it is that the way it's filmed backwards like that, and the way it unravels. So
yeah, that's the good part, I think.
Okay.
Next one, I finally watched One Cut of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead.
Have you heard about this movie? One Cut of the Dead.
I don't think so.
It's gotten a lot of praise and stuff. Quite a bit of praise. I want to say it's like really high on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff and all that. I mean, I liked it. I mean, it's like 7.6 on IMDb. I liked it. I mean, I don't know why it's such a mass appeal though, because it's just about a bunch of indie filmmakers trying to make a zombie movie and like sort of real zombies happen and stuff. But like, it's really more about the indie filmmaking process, which I don't think appeals to like the masses. Not really.
Is this new?
No, it's not. No, it's not that new. It came out in 2017.
Oh, okay. I don't even know if I've even heard of it. Oof.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, there actually is another version. I think the French version came out recently, or maybe a couple years ago. It's called Final Cut or something like that. Yeah, it's just essentially the same story. I haven't watched that one yet, but I finally got around to this one. I mean, like I said, I liked it. I just don't know why it's kind of so heavily lauded, maybe. But hey, that's cool. Up next was that new film with Melissa Briero, that girl from Scream, when he got fired, called Your Monster.
Oh yeah! Oh my God, that was totally on my list, and I didn't even mention it. I watched that also.
Oh, you watched that also? So that was on.
Yeah, I completely forgot to write that down. That's crazy.
that one was on HBO. What'd you think about it?
I didn't think it was a horror movie.
Yeah, it really wasn't a horror.
I mean, I think for Valentine's Day, it's great. It's a great February film. That's kind of why I watched it. I mean, I
silly.
Yeah. I mean, it was cute. It was cute.
A little cute. I think cuter, right? Like it's not as good as say Lisa Frankenstein. You know?
Oh yeah, Lisa Frankenstein. I actually really liked that movie. So my thing was, I was like, it was a formula movie, so I knew everything was going to happen before it happened.
Yeah.
Except the end. I don't think like I caught the end. I think the end maybe caught me off guard, but it was all right. I mean,
yeah.
I think if you're not really, if you're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, you're probably a horror fan. So, maybe it's for some people, but I think it's more for.
I only listen to this podcast because I hate myself. I want to punish myself by listening to things I hate.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't. It was all right. Maybe for a different person, maybe, but.
Yeah. I wasn't too impressed with it. I mean, I could kind of see why it wasn't like I don't know, heavily talked about or something. Up next was a Shudder movie called Grafted.
Oh, I don't know this one. Okay.
A bright but socially awkward exchange student takes her craving for popularity to horrifying heights. So it's like skin grafting, It's basically where basically this girl. She's pretty quiet and shy, but then there's like this whole supernatural aspect of it too, where like she can kind of like wear people's skin. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief in this movie, for real, because basically she's like killing people and then wearing their skin, but she looks just like them. So if you can get past that disbelief, then it's a pretty decent movie. It's pretty decent. But you got to get past that part first, because I mean, if you kill somebody and cut their skin off and wear it, it wouldn't look exactly like them, legit. You'd look more like probably like that guy from Hellraiser or something. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a decent movie.
Yeah.
It's
Your
not
face wouldn't be all like form fitted on there and everything.
right.
Be
Right.
like, yeah, let me get a stapler and like staple it on.
Right.
Let me stretch it a
Exactly.
little bit. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
Okay.
Up next was another Shudder movie called Dark Match.
Okay.
Uh,
Dark match. Okay.
Small town wrestling company accepts a well-paying gig in the backwoods town, only to learn too late that the community is run by a mysterious cult leader with devious plans for their match. This one was a pretty good movie. It's pretty bloody and gory. Um, it's got a couple people that you've probably seen before from the horror genre. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big wrestling fan personally, but I do think that they go pretty hand in hand. I know a lot of people do like horror, like wrestling, and I do think
Yeah.
when you have the genres together, uh, they go together pretty good. I mean, pretty good. Those Kane movies were I liked them pretty good. See No Evil, and then there was a one last year that came out. Something blood. I can't remember the whole title of it, but it was pretty decent as well. So this one was not bad. It wasn't bad. It was a pretty
Okay.
decent little brawl
Okay.
movie.
Dark
All right.
match. Dark match. That's what it's
Dark
called.
Match. Yep.
Okay.
We talked about
Okay.
Heretic and Companion.
Okay.
The next one I watched was Never Let Go.
Never let go.
Yeah, that's that Haley Berry movie.
Oh yeah, I wanted to see that. I was kind of intrigued. I did see the trailer for it.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering. I was like, oh, is this one of these ones that there's all this hype and it's just like, meh. What did you think? You think it's good?
I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think it's great. I think there's been movies that are similar to it, but
Mhm.
before
Yeah,
um, like
yeah.
I could give some names and you'd probably be like, okay, I don't need to watch this movie, but I won't do it. But there's definitely movies that came out in recent years that it's very similar to in a way. I mean, it's okay. It's not a terrible movie. I mean, it's well acted and everything, and all that. But it's kind of like this whole thing. It's like, is it really happening, or is it in their heads, kind of deal, But so I mean, worth a watch, but don't be rushing out to do it, kind of a deal.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So up next, now we both talked a lot about the movie Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie
yeah.
Vernon. It's a great movie. It's one of my favorite movies, and it's one of those movies that's kind of very standalone. It's really you can't really lump it in with a lot of movies because not a lot of movies like it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this next movie I watched it's probably the most similarest thing I've ever seen to it. It's called Bloody Axe Wound.
Bloody Axe one?
Bloody Axe Wound. Yeah, like a wound.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it says Abby's family business, a video store, was thrived by disposing of teenagers to mimic horror movies. As the first female slasher, she battles gender bias while realizing the harsh realities behind the mass murders. So it's basically like, it's like a family that is a mass that they're murderers or slasher murderers and stuff.
Mhm.
So her dad is like kind of like a Jason Voorhees or something.
Okay.
So in that sense, it makes it sort of like it's not on the level of Behind the Mask. I don't want to hype it up to you, make you think it's as good as that. It's nowhere near as good as that movie, and it is more of a slasher, I guess you'd say, than that sort of movie. But it does make me think of that movie just by the way that it kind of play on those conventions.
And it's different too. I think that's one of the things I liked about Behind the Mask is that I had never seen anything like it. I was like, this is so different.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly like that in a way because that was such a love letter to horror movies, and I think this is too in its own way. But it's just again, I can't stress enough that it's not as good, anywhere near as good as Behind the Mask, but it kind of falls in that vein of it. And I don't know if he owed some favors or something, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in this movie.
Oh, really?
For a little bit, because it's a really low budget movie. It's really low budget.
Okay.
And I saw him in it, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Where is it like a Shudder movie or?
I think it's going to be on Shudder. I'm not sure if it's on there right now. I think it's just VOD right now. I think.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's worth a watch though. I think you should check it out. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Up next was Spin the Bottle.
In the bottle. Like the game we used to play when we were like
Yeah.
young teenagers.
Spin the
I
Bottle.
never played that shit, but
Yeah. Okay. The story of a group of teenagers in a small town Texas who unleash a deadly force after playing a famous game in an abandoned house where a grisly massacre once took place. It's it's a fun movie. I mean, you've seen movies like this before. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was okay. Ali Larter's in it,
Okay.
and Justin Long.
Oh, okay.
But it just nothing home about. Check it off your list if you need to. But,
Okay.
up next was Piglet.
Piglet. Oh, what did you think of Piglet?
Yeah, it's another one. It's just okay. Obviously, since all these copyrights have run out, we're going to see a lot of this stuff. We saw the two Winnie the Poohs that we both liked. I think. Of course, Piglet was in that. So this is a standalone Piglet movie. It doesn't have anything to do with that filmmaker. I don't think. I'm pretty sure that this is its own thing. It was just okay. I don't think it was that great. It definitely is nowhere near as good as those movies. So I mean, a few decent kills, I guess you would say, but nothing to really be like, yeah, this is great. Just more of a
okay.
count on that. Up next, I finally saw The Crow.
Oh,
The new
you finally
movie.
checked it off your list, huh?
The Crow. The Wonderful Crow. This was on one of my worst of the list last year, and I hadn't even seen it yet. and I can
is it
and
still
I can
on that
say
list?
I can say yeah, absolutely. I can say without a doubt it's even worse than I thought it was going to be.
Oh no!
It's a terrible movie. It's terrible. It's god awful. Oh my god! Why did they make that movie? It is so bad. It's like it's like worse than that Edward Furlong movie, Crow movie. Bad. It's bad.
I didn't know there was an Edward Furlong Crow movie.
There is. I think it might
Did
be.
I miss that?
I think it's Crow 4 or 5. I don't know.
Oh,
Anyway,
I didn't watch any of those. I was like,
I've seen all of them. I've seen.
Oh
them
yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen 2, I would recommend 2. 2 is actually really good. Iggy Pop's in it.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay.
But that's about as far as it goes. But this one, man, oh my god! First of all, it was all CGI bullshit. Terrible. Okay. There's nothing really gothic about it. It's mostly just like prison ghetto. I don't know what you call it. First of all, and there's a ferryman that gives all the exposition away. Like you need that in this story. It's terrible. And they're not even like like in the first one where like him and his wife Shelley, Eric and Shelley, they were like soulmates. They were they were in love and stuff. Mm-hmm. In this one, I thought like you saw all the trailer, like there's going to be all this backstory, so there's like all this story with them and stuff. They like basically meet each other the same day. It's not even like that. It's a terrible movie. It is it probably would went up on that list. I swear it's don't get me started on that one. I don't like that shit.
And it's sad because like Bill Skarsgård is not an actor that needs to just take these bullshit roles. So it makes me wonder. I mean, did he read the script and he's like, yeah, or is he just doing a part that gives him millions of dollars? Like, what's that about?
I mean, it could be the money thing, but I think sometimes you take chances, right? Sometimes you throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
True. That's true.
I mean, could he have known? I don't know. I think after he looked at himself in the mirror, he should have just walked out and said, fuck this shit. I'm not doing this. But it is bad. It's real bad. Like I'm telling you, it's bad. Up next, the new Wolfman.
Oh, okay. What did you think of that one?
So we talked about this, I think, a little bit last podcast, how we weren't really that apprehensive about it. Both wanted to see it, not really that it didn't live up to much hype. I mean, it's an okay movie. It's well directed. It's well directed. It's well acted. I just don't think the story's there. it's pretty light. It's pretty thin. I don't think we're seeing anything new really.
So I've heard, like I talk to a lot of horror people and they're like, you're going to hate this movie, Bridget. You're not going to be able to sit through it because it is a snooze fest. Did you feel that way? Did you think it was like really slow?
it is slow.
Yeah.
It is slow. There's not a whole lot of action. I mean, there is some action at the end, I guess you would say, but it's just not. It's just not anything new. I feel like and I feel like at this point, like so you got the director. I mean, he did the Invisible Man, that version.
Oh,
that
okay,
came out. And I thought that he brought a really cool, interesting take on it. And I actually enjoy that one. But I don't think I just think with this one, it was just too simple, and there just wasn't enough innovative stuff, to warrant a remake of it. We've got some good werewolf movies out there. I don't know. There's just not that many that resonate with me that much. There's a few. But I just feel like, when you're doing a werewolf movie, you got to do something that's just unique. And again, I think he just, he tried, and it's not a terrible movie. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I just, after it was over, I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. And nothing, so yeah. Unfortunately,
it would be really hard to do like a werewolf movie or even a vampire movie for that matter. Like, because you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to.
You have to come with something amazing. Werewolf, zombies.
Yeah.
And vampires, werewolves, and zombies. All of those have been done to death. You have to come up with something.
It's kind of why I don't like. I kind of. I mean, you were talking about the zombie movie earlier. I'm like, I haven't even heard of this, but I'm not a big zombie fan.
Yeah, and really, zombies the outset of that movie, because it's really mostly about indie filmmaking, really. I think.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I didn't jump on the board to watch it either, because when I hear zombie, I really don't like. It doesn't get my adrenaline going. Like, oh my God, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Look, there's some innovative filmmakers and there's people out there who can bring something new, but it's just really hard, and it's so saturated that you really have to find those movies. I feel like so. Yeah, that's just one of those things. So up next, now you've seen Last House on the Left.
Oh yeah, of course. Both versions. Both versions.
But have you've seen both versions? But have you seen the third version?
I didn't know there was a third version. So
well, technically there's not. But technically there's not. But this is for sure a remake of the Last House on the Left. Now you like that movie, Last House on the Left?
Oh yeah, and it's intense too. It's intense, but no, I did. I loved them. So this version, is it called Last House on the Left?
No, it's called Chaos.
Oh, okay.
It's called Chaos. So it came out in 2005, and it's pretty low budget, really low budget kind of stuff. But it does follow very similar in a lot of ways to the movie, because after it started getting going, I started thinking, this is a lot like Last House on the Left. And I think maybe somebody who was involved with Last House was involved with this to a certain degree. But, it's not as good, obviously. I think it's pretty low budget. The acting it's sort of hills and valleys in this movie. You got some really good actors. You got some really bad actors. Kevin Gage is in the movie. He plays like the main bad guy. He's a really good actor. He was in that movie, Laid to Rest. Did you ever see that movie?
I don't think so.
He was in a few movies by that guy Robert Hall. He was a special effects guy who turned director. And they usually do pretty good. He was in Lightning Bug, which is you should watch Lightning Bug. It's a really good movie. It's not a horror movie, but it is kind of about horror. That's a really good movie. But if you haven't seen Laid to Rest, you should watch it because it's really good. It's really good.
Okay.
Part two.
I just wrote it down.
There is part two. Part two, Laid to Rest. It's okay. I don't love it, but
it's funny. So you're watching this movie Chaos, and you're like, I'm basically watching Last House on the Left, right?
Right. Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So I'm so all over the place that I don't even think I even mentioned this. I watched a movie earlier today. I don't even think I even mentioned it on my list. Apartment 7A. And I'm watching this, And if you read the description of the movie, it says, dancer that gets hurt and she's kind of taken under like this wealthy couple's wing, but they have this, different intentions, whatever. That's it.
Yes, yes.
So I'm watching it and I'm like, this is Rosemary's Baby.
Well, it is because it's a prequel.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And then I was like, I think Mike talked about this on the podcast because I remembered it.
Yeah.
And it kind of like jogged something up there in my brain. But yeah, I did watch that earlier today.
It was on my worst list of 2024.
Oh man, I should have wrote that down. Oof.
So what'd you think? What'd you think about it? You liked it?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's slow. It was slow, and then I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm watching Rosemary's Baby."
Yeah.
Boo!
So,
I just thought I was watching something different. I don't know why. I just
right. Well,
I didn't. It was so damn bad. I didn't even mention it on my damn list.
there you go. So going back to Chaos again. Now, there is a thing. It says the most brutal film of all time. I don't think that's true, but it is more brutal. It is more brutal than Last House on the Left, and it is more nihilistic too. So I think if you're a fan of hardcore, you should watch it. Just give it a check off the list.
Okay.
Because I mean, like I said, it's low budget. It's hills and valleys with the acting. So you're like, whatever. But again, I mean, you need to watch it because it's just one of those movies.
Is it Chaos with a C or a K?
It's with a C. Yeah, it's 2000.
Okay, so it's Chaos. Okay.
It's a very generic title. It came out in 2005. There was another movie with Jason Statham called Chaos in 2005 too. So it's very generic that title. But yeah, that's just one of those movies you have to just kind of search around. But it's out there.
Okay. Cool.
And all right. And the last thing I watched today, I watched Heart Eyes.
Oh, I saw that you were watching that earlier because I almost watched it last night, but I kind of fell asleep early.
Yeah.
So I've been hearing like, oh, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. But these people that I'm seeing this from are not horror people. So I'm just like, is it good? Is it good?
I mean, it's pretty good. It's it's good to have another horror movie for Valentine's Day because there's really not a lot of Valentine's Day horrors. I mean, obviously we got the Bloody Valentines, which we talked about before. We have the movie Valentine with David Boreanaz, but there's really not a whole lot of just like straightforward. I mean, you could say companion in a way is a Valentine movie, but not really. It's not. I mean,
not really. It's not really based around like the holiday.
It's not based around.
Right.
It's not based around. So this one is based around it, and this one is a rom-com slasher.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So I mean, yeah, I think it was pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm an old man, so some of the dialogue in the beginning is a little, to quote the youngsters, cringe for me. But some of the dialogue's a little cringe. But once you get past some of that, I mean, I do like it. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty inventive. The kills are decent and everything, and the acting's good. So I mean, yeah, it's good to have another, because there's certain holidays that just get all the love. Obviously, Christmas and Halloween and stuff like that. But certain ones like we talked about, Thanksgiving gets overlooked. Hadn't really had a big one. So Eli Roth jumped in there. Yeah. So this is just another one that it's got a few, but just doesn't have a whole lot. So why not add another one to the list? So I think it's worth a watch. I think you should check it out. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, awesome. Maybe I'll watch that later tonight.
Cool.
Stay tuned.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I mean, I did watch some more stuff, but I watched the Human Centipede 3 again. That's a terrible movie. That's a terrible movie.
That movie's kind of goofy compared to the rest of them.
Well, the guy who plays the doctor in the original, that was playing the warden or whatever. He's so annoying. He's so annoying in this movie.
Oh my god! Yeah,
I just hate it.
Goofy. It's goofy. Yeah, it's really goofy. It's
too meta. It's too meta with the director coming in and everything.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. The director coming in, I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, I think the first one's really good. I really actually love the second one. It's really hardcore. But
I
that
think the
third
second,
one,
yeah, the second one I like the second one better than the first one actually.
I do
Yeah,
too. I do too. I
yeah,
mean, the first
yeah.
one's obviously got to give it props for innovation for coming up with the
hmm
shit. But
hmm
the second one's rough. But that third one is just stupid. It's just
It's
stupid.
just dumb. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
bad. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. I can't vouch for that one. That's it. That's all I got. So what do you got?
yeah.
I know you're talking. You got some convention stuff you're doing.
Oh my God, it is like almost horror convention time. So I'm getting pumped up
I
for
thought
that.
all the
So
time was working. I thought
all
it
the
was
time, but for
always. Yeah,
me, they're always happening. So
yeah,
I mostly only work cons like in Tennessee and the surrounding states.
sure.
So but man, like when you get in the spring and summer, like there it's gonna be crazy. So I have a list for you.
Okay.
And I mentioned this like on the last podcast. So we've been three-legged circus oddities. I've talked about that, how that was just like picked at random because it is Tracy West's band name. And I was like, hey, this is my thing. So let's rebrand. So we're rebranding to Cirque de Freaks. The website has been approved. It's like they're building it as we speak. I'm super excited. I cannot wait for you to see this website. It's so badass. So
Awesome.
our first convention, we're gonna be Cirque de Freaks. All right, first convention. Here we go. I'm gonna rattle these off real quick.
Okay.
So first one's coming up is March the 1st through the 2nd. This is gonna be the Evansville Horror Con. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Evansville HorrorCon. Then moving on down a little bit, April the 18th through the 20th, we're going back to Nashville to the Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Convention. Yeah, that's a
Ben
big
Dixon.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. Ben and Stacy Dixon. Yeah, that's a really, really big one. Um, we've also got, hey, the next one, you and I are gonna have a booth together at
Frankencon.
FrankenCon,
Yeah.
May the 9th and the 10th. Yeah,
Sweet.
and that's
Yeah.
that is in Alcoa,
Alcoa, which
Tennessee.
is close to Knoxville.
Yeah, it's like basically it kind of almost is Knoxville.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be a fun one. Like we always have a good time when we work together.
Yeah.
Um, then I've got June the 7th and the 8th, Louisville HorrorCon. That's gonna be a new one for me. I've never worked this con before.
Now
So
what is this? Now, is this like the same people that put on the Indiana the
yeah,
Nashville
so
con and all that?
yep.
Okay.
Same people. They do Nashville HorrorCon, Evansville, and Louisville. And so last year when we worked the Nashville HorrorCon, that was the first year they come to Nashville. It was the first time we ever worked one of their cons. I didn't really know, but they market it so well. They do such a great job. It was very successful for us. So we're like, hey, let's just go ahead and like work all of them the next year. So
Cool.
and then let's see, Louisville. Oh, Nashville HorrorCon. That's coming up in, I mean, it's July. It's a little bit farther out, but hey, go ahead and put it on your calendar. Why not? July the 12th and 13th. And we're not even going to get into October because October is going to be crazy. That's too far out. But yeah, I'll try to mention these every podcast because they'll come up really fast. And man, I have been working so hard on rebranding, and I have got some amazing new horror merch. I'm
Nice.
so excited. Things that man, we've been making a lot of things, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna have a lot of surprises.
Very
So
cool.
it's our booth is always the happening spot to be. So man, if you're at one of these cons, stop by Cirque de Freaks and say hello.
Oh yeah. Excellent.
Yeah,
All right. Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome that there's all these cons in the vicinity of where we live and stuff, and of course they're all over the United States now. But I mean, here 20 years ago, I mean, it definitely wasn't the case, right? So they're all
hmm
popping up. They're all popping
Oh
up.
man, they're popping up everywhere, and I love it because kind of reminds you that, dude, horror is a big thing. The horror community is huge,
Well, yeah, yeah,
huge.
yeah. I don't think we'll ever get
Mhm.
to the recognition that we deserve, maybe necessarily.
Never.
But
Yep.
there's no denying the
hmm
impact that it has on
hmm
the culture.
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
like we were talking to a guest recently. They were talking about how their friends they want to go to the conventions with them, but they can't because they didn't do a horror movie. If it's a horror movie, they're
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of those things because like if you spend your whole career in Hollywood doing dramas, you know, there's no
hmm
drama convention, is there?
No.
See,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
comedy convention. Now I saw a couple comedy conventions in Chicago, but they're very
Mhm.
few. They're very few.
Mhm.
They're not that many, and I don't know
Mhm.
how big they really are. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, there's film festivals and stuff that are for any kind of genre. But as far as just like a meet and greet convention, you don't really get
Mhm.
all that. I mean, you get it with horror, you get it with sci-fi,
Mhm.
and a few of the like lower genres, really. But you don't really get that with the big recognized genres.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
it's definitely a thing, and it's
this,
great. I love it. I love it. I have always have so much fun when I work these events, and I meet so many amazing, cool people too. So.
yeah, it's always cool to go say hi to people and
Mhm.
just maybe chat
Yeah,
for a minute
absolutely.
and just
Yeah.
kind of. And some people are really cool. Some people are just busy, and some people might seem like dicks and probably aren't in
Mhm.
real life. They just kind of were at the second.
Mhm.
But I've had a lot of really good experiences just talking to those people. So
Yeah, yeah,
they're very
me too.
nice.
For
Yeah,
the most part, when for the most part, usually like your big name horror movie celebrities are usually pretty cool, like really cool, laid back people, typically. Not
yeah.
always, but typically. So
Typically, yeah, that's true. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, and especially you get these people that kind of maybe had a lustrous career in Hollywood. Now they're kind of doing B movies and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really a good time to talk to them because they have a lot of history to talk about.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's always cool. You got anything else today?
Man, hey, that's it. That's
All
it for
right,
February.
February. All right, well, short month here, so we'll be back before you know it.
Okay.
Great. All right, so you have to stay hardcore, right?
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
Until next time.
Later.
Later.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Nothing harder.
Hardcore horror with Mike and Brigitte is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.